Locke. John Locke. You probably know about the 17th century philosopher John Locke, also known as the Father of Liberalism. Locke is amongst the most influential philosophers today and enjoys a lofty position in the eyes of many. Many hold him in high esteem. We have come across some overlooked, swept under the rug,
Don't tell anyone.
not so well circulated statements from Locke, which may be quite shocking to some and stand in contrast to the views that many may have of him. So let's take a look. 3 not so known statements from John Locke.
Number 1.
John Locke sanctions the death penalty for apostasy. Wait, what? Yes, in his writing, Letter Considering Toleration, he states, "The case of idolaters in respect to the Jewish Commonwealth, meaning the Kingdom of Israel, falls under a double consideration. The first is of those who, being initiated in the Mosaical rites and made citizens of that Commonwealth, did afterwards apostatize from the worship of the God of Israel. These were proceeded against as traitors and rebels, guilty of no less than high treason. For the Commonwealth of the Jews, different in that from all others, was an absolute theocracy. Nor was there or could there be any difference between that Commonwealth and the Church, meaning the Jewish religion. The laws established there concerning the worship of one invisible deity were the civil laws of that people, and a part of their political government, in which God himself was the legislator. Now, if anyone can show me where there is a commonwealth at this time constituted upon that foundation, I will acknowledge that the ecclesiastical laws do there unavoidably become a part of the civil, and that the subjects of that government both may and ought to be kept in strict conformity with that church by the civil power. But it may be urged further that, by the law of Moses, idolaters were to be rooted out. True, indeed, by the law of Moses, but that is not obligatory upon us Christians. Nobody pretends that everything generally enjoined by the law of Moses ought to be practiced by Christians. But there is nothing more frivolous than that common distinction of moral, judicial, and ceremonial law which men ordinarily make use of. For no positive law whatsoever can oblige any people but to those whom it is given. Hear, O Israel, sufficiently restrains the obligations of the law of Moses only to that people, and this consideration alone is answer enough unto those that urge the authority of the law of Moses for the inflicting of capital punishment upon idolaters."
Number 2.
John Locke's intolerance towards Muslims. Once again, in A Letter Considering Toleration, he states, "That church, meaning religion, can have no right to be tolerated by the magistrate, meaning government, which is constituted upon such a bottom, meaning foundation, that all those who enter into it do thereby ipso facto deliver themselves up to the protection and service of another prince, meaning foreign ruler. It is ridiculous for anyone to profess himself to be a Mahometan, meaning Muslim, only in his religion, but in everything else a faithful subject to a Christian magistrate, meaning government, whilst at the same time he acknowledges himself bound to yield blind obedience to the Mufti of Constantinople, who himself is entirely obedient to the Ottoman Emperor, and frames the feigned oracles, meaning commandments, of that religion according to his pleasure." And last but not least,
Number 3.
John Locke's intolerance towards atheists. Also in A Letter Considering Toleration, he states, "Lastly, those are not at all to be tolerated who deny the being of a God. Promises, covenants, and oaths, which are the bonds of human society, can have no hold upon an atheist. The taking away of God, though even in thought, dissolves all. Besides also, those that by their atheism undermine and destroy all religion, can have no pretense of religion, whereupon to challenge the privilege of its toleration. So we see Locke is okay with Jews implementing the death penalty for apostasy, was either extremely ignorant or just extremely biased against Muslims, or both, and just had no room for atheists. This concludes our look at 3 glossed over statements from John Locke. Affect religion according to his pleasure.